The roots of the Battle of Little Bighorn lay deep in the history of broken promises. The Black Hills, sacred to the Lakota, had been promised to them by a treaty. But when gold was discovered, the promises were forgotten. The white men wanted the gold, and they would do anything to get it. Tensions rose as the Lakota, under leaders like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, resisted. The U.S. Army saw the Lakota's resistance as a threat. Crazy Horse knew that the battle was not just about land, but about their way of life, their culture, and their freedom. Throughout the winter, the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho gathered their forces. Sitting Bull's visions had foretold a great victory, giving the warriors hope. Crazy Horse, known for his fearless spirit and smart thinking, became a key leader. The Lakota moved their villages to the valley of the Little Bighorn River, a river that runs through southeastern Montana. Scouts brought back reports of the approaching soldiers, led by the ambitious General Custer, known for his recklessness and hatred for the native tribes. On the eve of the battle, the Lakota camp was buzzing with activity. Warriors painted their faces and bodies, each symbol representing protection, strength, and courage. Women prepared food and water, ensuring the warriors had the sustenance they needed. Crazy Horse moved among his people, offering words of encouragement. He visited the teepees where the young braves were preparing, reminding them of their duty to their ancestors and future generations. As dawn broke on June 25, 1876, the Lakota scouts brought alarming news. Custer's forces were approaching. The time for preparation was over. Crazy Horse, Sitting Bull, and the other leaders quickly made their plan. They would divide their forces, creating a trap to catch the soldiers. Crazy Horse, with his group of elite warriors, took position to the south, ready to spring the trap. The tension was thick in the air as they waited for the right moment. Then, with a signal from Crazy Horse, the attack began. Ahead, the white soldiers under General Custer had set up their camp, unaware of the imminent danger. They believed themselves invincible, but Crazy Horse knew better. "We strike hard and fast," he whispered. "Let them feel the fury of the Lakota." The warriors nodded, their faces set in grim determination. They had the element of surprise. Crazy Horse knew that victory belonged to those who fought with the greatest heart. With a loud war cry, Crazy Horse led the charge. The Lakota warriors burst out from their hiding places, their fierce yells echoing across the valley. The soldiers, caught off guard, scrambled to defend themselves. But it was too late. The Lakota were already upon them. Join our tribe and hit subscribe. Don't miss out on the wisdom and epic Native American stories. Now let's continue. Crazy Horse moved like lightning, his horse galloping through the chaos as he slashed and blocked with his tomahawk. The soldiers fired their rifles, but the smoke and confusion made it hard to aim. The Lakota, with their unbreakable spirit, fought with a fierceness that shocked the enemy. As the battle raged on, Crazy Horse noticed a group of soldiers attempting to flank them. If they succeeded, the Lakota could be surrounded. He quickly signaled to his best warriors, pointing to the advancing soldiers. With a nod, they broke off from the main battle and charged towards the flanking force. Crazy Horse led the way, his eyes blazing with determination. The soldiers hesitated for a moment that cost them dearly. Crazy Horse and his warriors hit them like a storm, their attack swift and brutal. The soldiers were driven back, their formation broken. The Lakota pressed their advantage, pushing the soldiers into a disorganized retreat. The tide of battle was turning, but Crazy Horse knew they could not relent. They had to drive the soldiers out completely. Despite the initial success, Crazy Horse knew the battle was far from over. The soldiers began to regroup and mount a counterattack. He quickly adapted his tactics, directing his warriors to target the officers and disrupt their commands. The battlefield was a deadly game, each move crucial. The Lakota's superior knowledge of the terrain gave them an edge. They used every hill, every dip in the land to their advantage, striking quickly and then melting back into the landscape. Crazy Horse's presence was a constant inspiration, his courage infectious. The soldiers, realizing they were losing, made a desperate stand. General Custer rallied his men for one last push, but Crazy Horse was ready. With a final, powerful charge, Crazy Horse led his warriors against Custer's last stand. The fighting was intense, but the Lakota's spirit could not be broken. They fought with everything they had, their ancestors' strength flowing through them. In the midst of the chaos, Crazy Horse saw Custer in the fray, a man who had brought so much suffering to his people. With a cry of defiance, he urged his horse forward, cutting through the chaos to face the general. The two leaders locked eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. This was the moment of truth. Crazy Horse and Custer charged at each other, the final clash between two determined leaders. Crazy Horse struck with precision and strength, his tomahawk finding its mark. Custer fell, and with him, the last hopes of his soldiers. Seeing their leader fall, the remaining soldiers lost their will to fight. The Lakota pressed their advantage, driving the soldiers into a complete retreat. The battlefield was theirs. The fight between Crazy Horse and Custer was swift and deadly. Crazy Horse, driven by the spirits of his ancestors and the need to protect his people, struck with a precision and strength that left Custer reeling. The general fell, and with him, the last hopes of his soldiers. Seeing their leader fall, the remaining soldiers lost their will to fight. The Lakota pressed their advantage, driving the soldiers into a complete retreat. The battlefield was theirs. The white soldiers lay defeated, their bodies scattered across the battlefield. Crazy Horse stood among his warriors, his heart filled with the bittersweet taste of victory. They had protected their land, their people, but the cost had been high. The Lakota warriors gathered around their leader, eyes reflecting relief and sorrow. They had lost friends, brothers, but gained their freedom. Crazy Horse looked at his people, pride swelling within him. "We have shown them our strength," he said. "We have shown them that we will not be driven from our lands. Today we honor our ancestors and pave the way for our children." The warriors raised their weapons in salute, their voices joining in a triumphant cheer. The Battle of Little Bighorn would be remembered not just for the victory, but for the spirit of the Lakota people, embodied in their fearless leader, Crazy Horse. In the aftermath of the Battle of the Little Bighorn, the Lakota victory was short-lived. The battle fought here on June 25, 1876, was part of the larger Great Sioux War of 1876, a struggle for the survival of the Plains tribes against the U.S. government's attempts to confine them to reservations. The U.S. government intensified its military campaigns, and by the end of 1877, many of the Native American leaders, including Crazy Horse, had surrendered or been captured. Crazy Horse himself was fatally wounded while under arrest later that year, becoming a martyr for his people. The Battle of Little Bighorn remains one of the most studied and debated events in American military history, symbolizing both the bravery of the Native American warriors and the tragic consequences of the U.S. government's expansionist policies. The legacy of the Battle of Little Bighorn endures, serving as a powerful reminder of the cultural clash and the enduring spirit of the Lakota people, who fought bravely to protect their land and way of life.